I don't. We're live. So
yes, we are.
So hello, it's Debbie
and Jill,
and we're starting at 11 a.m. on Friday, as opposed in the United States, as opposed to 6 p.m. I'm having trouble with the platform that I'm using, and so I'll be calling today to see if I can straighten that up. So. Anyway, so
we're still here, and you still get to listen to us and participate or listen afterward.
Exactly.
It's all the fun.
That's right. Yep. And
it's Friday.
And it's Friday. Oh, thank goodness.
It's Friday.
Right? It's been a long ass week.
Oh, no kidding.
I bet.
Right? You too?
I bet. Yeah. Very long ass, very long week. And a lot of people who are really hurting for Mother's Day decorations and commercials are all over the place. I'm not sure that you can go anywhere.
You can't turn on a stream. You can't walk into the store. You can't order groceries. Even freaking Instacart has a Mother's Day banner. Like, could we just stop, please?
Yeah.
Could we just go grocery shopping and not? And again, I will say again, who decided mothers are pink and purple?
I know.
Because I don't know why we have to have pink and purple everywhere for Mother's Day. Who decided that?
I know. Well, you know what? It's really interesting because I didn't do it this year. But most years I usually get people whose mom have died. I usually get a white carnation and a red carnation for people whose mom are alive. And that is based on Anna Jarvis, who got the president to sign, was it 1914, I think? The official Mother's Day, designating a Mother's Day. And yet mothers are celebrated in so many different cultures in so many different ways for so long. It's not like all of a sudden it was an idea in 1914.
And they didn't say in that proclamation that pink and purple were assigned. They did not say that.
What's up with that?
Right? Yeah. And I know some churches and our church used to do a thing where if your mother was still living, then they brought you a red carnation in the pew, and if not, a white one. And while that's very sweet, it's also very hurtful to make people stand up and say, my mom is dead. Or those who didn't have a mom who raised them, like, when do I stand up? Where do I fit?
Right. Yep.
Right. There's so many ways that this not holiday confounds all the things related to loss, related to parenting and nurturing and childhood and seniorism and all the things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I actually just saw a post just recently that I highlighted actually on my feed, and I wanted to read today because it's written by a woman named Jeannie Winstrom. Actually, you and I are friends with her, even though I have never talked with her.
Yes, we are.
Love.
I have.
You have? Well, then I'm going to hunt her down. I'm going to say hi. And so this is a piece that she wrote that I really wanted to share, and it struck it for me because I am a woman who ended up choosing not to be after years of infertility challenges in many different ways. And choosing not to be a mom was really truly part of my grief process. It really was the way that I needed to make that decision in grieving and releasing that dream. Yeah. And I don't think, we don't have a lot of people that really talk about it that way. That I really want.
That's actually why we moved to Florida, because we went through all the infertility and then realized that we were not going to give birth. And at that point, it was like, let's cut our losses and go do something completely different. And that's how I ended up getting the master's that I did. And then when we came home, our children were literally just dropped in our laps, and my adopted children are not second choices for those who like to attribute those things.
Right.
I did grieve the loss of giving birth to children. I happened to have children dropped on me. I celebrate those who don't have children, because You
Mhm,
guys get to go out and do things and have a whole different kind of focus on life. And that's amazing. And there are times,
mhm, mhm. Yes,
right?
actually,
There's all those things.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, the people across the street. We live in a little cul-de-sac, and so years and years ago, when my husband got a little two-seater convertible, and we'd go off.
Right.
When they had 3 children, 2 of them twins, and very close together.
Minivan. Yes.
Exactly. And we would all chuckle. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, there you go, off to get." And in times that I'd be like, "Oh, and there you go, and you have all these children." Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's the balance. And everybody has the life path that they
Mhm.
choose. And it is an active choice. When you
Right.
decide to stop infertility, you have other choices to make. When the choice is we're just not going to do kids, that
Yeah.
gives you a whole nother kind of choice in life, which is amazing, but not sometimes well received by other people.
That's right. Because we are really a child-centered community, and world. So here I want to
And
read this.
purple and pink.
Yes. So I really love this. This is writes, before this week is saturated with pictures, poems, remembering all the mothers honored today. She posted this a few days ago. Let's take a brief moment to acknowledge that there are many who choose not to have children, medically could not become pregnant or sustain a pregnancy, or have lost a child or children. This week can be difficult for these women. They may be conflicted with a range of emotions felt. There are mothers in their lives they honor and care about, but they can feel grief, sadness, loneliness, or anxiety as Mother's Day approaches. They are not included or feel excluded by church events, family brunches, advertising campaigns, and other social happenings. These women deserve acknowledgement and inclusion, although most people don't know what to say, so words are left unsaid. Most women have given motherly love, attention, advice, and many who have been blessed with encounters. Their mother friends, nieces, nephews, neighbors, clients, students, patients, coworkers, and customers. Just be aware of these amazing ladies today. They may need solitude or connections. Just ask. Yeah, I thought that
Give
was
them choices.
yeah,
It is.
yeah.
It's hugely important. And there's so many people who will never say out loud, I went through infertility, which, by the
Mhm.
way, is hell.
Yeah,
And oh my God, and it wrecks you
yeah,
for a long time.
yes.
And then even if you go through infertility and you can get pregnant, so many folks who go through it can't sustain
Mhm.
that pregnancy,
Right. Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
remember being told I was having hysterical pregnancy, I wasn't really pregnant. Turns out I was, but
Mhm.
my body and celiac disease, that didn't work together so well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But there's all those terms that people use to be so judgy towards women who are in infertility and have experienced it.
Mhm. Good point.
Just
Yeah.
leave it alone and support those. And if someone who's not a person with children, ask
Mhm.
them how they're doing this weekend,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
And don't say, isn't it nice that you didn't ever have to spend money on college? Maybe they wanted to.
Exactly. That's right. Because maybe they wanted to be in.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they
Mhm.
wanted those stresses, and can be relieved at the same time of not having those.
Right.
Two, right.
And we could be very jealous of that two-seater because,
That's right.
and then we get to a certain age and we can't get into the damn two-seaters anymore. So because they're too low. So by the time you can get into it, you can't get into it. Right?
That may be our problem pretty soon.
When I bought my last car, which I love, it's the luxury edition for me at least, but it is a small SUV. I was like, but there's only 5 seats.
Mhm.
And Stacy looked at me and said, they don't live with us anymore. They drive their own cars. We don't need that many seats.
Oh,
Like, oh, you're right.
oh
We
yeah.
only need room for the poodles, and we have enough room for the poodles with the one back seat. The entire back seat of the car, by the way, is dog beds. Mhm.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yep.
That's why I have my Mini Cooper with the seats down. Yes.
See? Yeah, no, that would not be enough room for all the doodle bugs.
Yeah.
There would be a tussle. Because the smallest one gets the biggest seat.
There you go. That's right. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah.
7-pound Walter, who has no eyes, can glare at everybody in the back seat and warn them off, and they have to share 2 seats between 4 of them. We have rules, apparently.
So what have you been doing this week? I know that I've had a lot of moms who have been in, and dads, but a lot of this is Mom's Week that is being focused on more, who's who have had a child die,
Mhm.
and we've talked about what do you do on that day, and just the recognition of the days leading up to are pretty damn agonizing. And I think that in being able to recognize it and acknowledge it beforehand, it takes some of the, finally, we've gotten to the day. And
Takes the edge off, and preparing for it doesn't, because a lot of folks will say, I don't even want to think about it. And
right,
my consistent advice, and I do mean advice as a therapist, is, and I don't do advice a lot,
right.
we need to prepare for it. We need to have a plan.
Yeah.
And we don't need one plan. We
Mhm.
need 3 plans.
Good
Because
idea. 3.
then you can say, today I don't feel like this one. I think I'm going to do this one today. I got to be careful which finger I leave up, right? And so we come up with plans, and we live in Southern California. The beach is usually one of them. The
Mhm.
snow has melted. Some people choose mountain or desert.
Mhm.
Some folks choose staying home and turning off the ringers and closing the blinds, and they just make the house their nurturing shell for the day.
Yeah.
Some choose to go out with other moms who've had other similar losses.
Yep.
A few have chosen to focus on grandchildren
Mhm.
from other kids,
Yeah.
or the grandchildren from that child if they had them.
Mhm.
I also am dealing with a lot of women who chose not to be moms
Mhm.
and are now seniors and are
Mhm.
now really feeling like, I must have missed out on something, and I'm
Yeah.
this week really hurts,
Yeah.
and I'm concerned about my future with it, because I'm seeing all my friends moving to live with their kids,
Yeah.
and I don't have that. And so we do a lot of that discussion as well this particular week.
Yeah.
This is an emotionally laden minefield of a week.
Absolutely. It really
It
is.
is.
I think.
And then we've had all these mass losses this week. And so those who've lost kids to violence
Yeah.
are just feeling like all of that's coming back open again. And so it's not packaging it up, it's acknowledging
Exactly.
just how much is there.
Yes. And
Yeah.
being able to see and hear it, and
Mm-hmm.
be able to sit with people whose hearts are broken in a million pieces, and that yearning. Yeah. And
Right.
I think also being able to, I just attended a wonderful 2-day training on suicide loss with the Portland Loss and Transition Institute and Portland Institute of Transition and Loss, and with Bob Niemeyer. And it was Jack Jordan actually had done this particular one with a mom whose son had killed himself many years ago. I'm really talking about the importance of being able to help this mom and many people be able to create and hold a picture of their child is an image in their heart of where they can go to be able to connect, and
To
how,
maintain those ties.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to
Mm-hmm.
maintain, strengthen them. Yeah, I like to think
Mm-hmm.
of it as tethers, and that
I like
emotional,
that.
spiritual tether, that we strengthen those tethers that were always there before, but are different now.
Mm-hmm. I actually hung out with Niemeyer's group when I was at ADEC a couple weeks
Oh,
ago. So
good. Oh, good, good,
we were
good.
right near each other, so it was fun. But yeah, there's so much there with when there's been a loss by suicide. Is
Yeah.
I chose to have this child, and this child chose to end their life,
Mhm.
and the chose is a laden term too, because
Right.
they clearly couldn't tolerate the pain anymore.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And so it wasn't they were abandoning their mom, they just couldn't do life.
Yeah.
And now mom's got to do life without that child.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so we do a lot of acknowledging that. And moms I work with who face that, we again do preparation, and sometimes they connect with their child's friends, or they send Mother's Day cards to their, children's friends' moms. Right. I just talked to with Deb Hart at our Friday Grief Chat, and she noted that the first year that her mom died, she went to the store and got the cards she would have sent her mom and sent them to other people to maintain those ties.
Yeah. I
like that a lot.
I love that. When you guys were talking about the card store, I was chatting on on the chat there because I had remembered I had avoided that card store for a good 6 months, and had to go in because it was my brother's birthday. And man, I snapped at that clerk who said, "Oh, and what are you and your mother doing today?" Where I had a birthday card, and it felt like, there was this long line, and it felt like, to me as a griever, I assumed everybody was in line to get their mother, their loving, wonderful, alive mother, a card. And so when she asked, "Oh, what are you doing?" I snapped and said, "Some of us don't have mothers," and ran out.
Exactly. And I don't know if you know Mari Lee. She's here in Southern California.
I'm gonna actually be spending an hour with Mari tomorrow.
Oh, nice. She always at Mother's Day can be counted upon to put something up about those who were raised in the system. And those who didn't have a mom who chose to nurture or stay, and then didn't have consistent foster parents for however long in their lives. And so they don't have those connections. And when you start saying, "I hope you have a great Mother's Day with your mom," you are making a big presumption.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because not a lot of people don't have that mom. And so their Mother's Day is grieving the mom they didn't have.
Exactly. And such a, such an ambiguous type of loss. Yeah.
It very much is. Yeah.
So not, a lot of acknowledgement that's just more important than I think people realize. Yeah.
My kids being adopted and having known their birth moms, when we come to Mother's Day, we talk about, the things that their birth mothers gifted them with, and the things that we value about them. And sometimes I have to force the issue because sometimes they're not feeling all that friendly towards those birth moms because there was some stuff there. There's a reason they were in care. But we talk about them because you can see them in their faces.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's
all those lots of ambiguous pieces there. Right. And how can you as my mom tell me that I should be valuing my birth mom? Right. Because if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have you here. Yeah. Right.
I think that, that opens up this whole thing. I think we had talked about it before about estrangement and that cutoff, and that just that cutoff doesn't repair internally for each person. Is that in fact, actually, there's still a lot of ruminating and unfinished business.
Yeah, I've got clients that have been really hurting this week because their moms were not the moms they needed. And did some serious emotional damage. And how do I justify loving her? And she's gone. So how do I justify her memory somehow being? Where do I put it all?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So for one, we planted a little garden box virtually, and she put in some things that reminded her of the nurturing and some things that reminded her to nurture herself.
Excellent. And I love the virtual garden box. Ooh, that's a really
right.
Good, I'm the gardener.
I've been known to send boxes out and some soil and things, and now we're going to do this today. Jill's been here. Guess what?
I like it.
Amazon is my helper.
Yep. Yeah. Amazon tries to help me a lot.
They did help this week. Mm-hmm. Here come the plants. Here come the seeds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, did your tomato seeds come up? Speaking of,
Not yet. Not yet. I had sprinkled them. And so I'm going over there going, grow, grow, grow. Come on. So, but that was just a week ago. So
that's true. I was expecting miracles. It's that week.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
So what are you going to be doing this weekend? How are you going to be honoring where you land in this? Is it going to be the dog gets to get you treats? And
no, you know what? It's funny because neither Mark or I go into being dog parents or dog mom or dad.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think part of it is out of respect for, hey, look, if I have a dog, my dog is a whole lot easier to manage. I can put my dog in the kitchen, okay, with the dog door and leave for a couple hours, where you can't do that with a kid. So
I can't do that with my dogs. I'm so jealous. They go with.
And most of the time, Dottie is with us now. But anyway, so we're actually going to have a barbecue at our house. We're having a brunch barbecue, and and my husband and I were just talking about, Mark and I were just talking about it, of what we wanted. And so actually Mark was hungry because he was like, oh, how about this and this and this? I was like, honey, that's a lot, because I know I'm hungry. I haven't had lunch yet. So, but
a little of everything.
Right. But that's really nice. I love being able to have, his family. So his mom will come over. Actually, one of his brothers will pick up his mom. And then we'll have my sister-in-law. One of my sister-in-laws there, and a niece and a nephew. And so, yeah.
So celebrating all the people.
Yeah. But, I like being able to do that. And then I absolutely have to do some gardening that day, because that just honors my mom and my family. Yeah. And I think actually the gladiolas are coming up now, and my mom's favorite flower was glads. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. What color did you put in?
You know what? I don't even remember. They're coming up from the years before. I mean, there are some times that stuff comes up in the garden, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is. So,
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I had some cilantro that came up this year. I was like, I don't remember planting cilantro there, but okay, fine.
I didn't know it came back. No. Who knew?
That's right. Actually, I'm busy watching the corn grow in our backyard. That is
nice.
That's fascinating.
It is.
Corn. Yeah.
We put it in our raised planter bed, and I will never do that again because it gets too darn tall.
Yeah. So I'm sure it'll be much taller than me pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I like that. I like just the whole metaphor of the garden and growing and life. Yeah. And so that's
one of the most healing things I think that we can do as therapists and as humans.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to be doing?
I'm not sure. I know I've got food set aside to just heat up and make it simple. My mom is on hospice now, and is in ender stage with dementia as well as some other health issues. And so we have our old neighbors coming over, and I'm keeping it simple. Trader Joe's was very kind. They had all that nice frozen quiche stuff, and so it's just going to all get. There it is. Good. But I don't know if it's going to be Mother's Day or Christmas, because she's not sure what day it is. So we're just going to be whatever day it is. And if she can remember who they are, we'll enjoy that. If not, she'll have new friends come to visit. Mm-hmm. We're just going to play it by ear, because you got to have a sense of humor when you're in that kind of space.
That's right. Yeah. And what a lovely thing to be able to do is, hey, look, Mom, we'll have Christmas in May. That's okay.
It's Christmas every morning now, which is kind of delightful.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as I get presents at some point, it's all good. Although I have to shop for them. So, there's that too. So I'm sure we'll be seeing people, and we're, when you've got hospice going, I'm in the middle of playing travel agent for family members coming out at different times.
Yeah.
So for those who are in the middle of losing moms, this is a trying time as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Mhm.
And also,
So write down all the things.
yeah,
Write down the memories.
mhm, yes,
Mhm.
and um, for a couple of my clients who have terminal illnesses, is that we are writing out, and for one is not able to literally write it out, so I will go ahead, she'll dictate it to me, and we'll write out different notes or cards or letters that that she wants to be able to leave for her grandchildren and her children.
I
Yeah.
love that. Have you read Steve Lader's For You When I Am Gone?
You know what? I haven't. It's actually on my it's in my
Look at that. That
oh,
one,
you when I am gone.
right?
Okay. Okay.
By Steve Lader. It's on Amazon, and I don't normally act as a commercial, but it's the process of writing an ethical Jewish will, but for everybody. And it's a great way for folks who are in that process
Mhm.
to do some of those activities and leave those thoughts behind.
Oh, that
And
is
if that's something that's happening on your Mother's Day, you can do that with folks who are still present.
that's perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you for that resource.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Everybody needs resource lists. And if you don't know, Debbie Jenkins Frankel is the resource list leader for all things grief.
I love.
And if you are a therapist, you need to join Private Practice Grief.
Yes, please.
Because she knows all the things and she's linked to everybody.
I love resources, and I love how resourceful you are. But, what do you got coming up?
Let's see. I'm off to La Crosse, Wisconsin
Mm-hmm.
in June for the International Death, Grief, and Bereavement Conference.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, all of a sudden I got feedback.
Oop.
And other than that, I'm staying home. How about you?
Good. I've got a training with the Catalyst. What do they call it? The Catalyst Center. I've got an online training on. I'm just looking at it now. Where the hell is it? It is something. It's on the multi layers of grief, and so that's online. I'll post that. And then I was just asked to do another training for the Palo Alto Therapy Center, and then I've got London in September that I'm sponsoring for our friend Ernesto Sigismundo and the
Are you going to be able to get to Stonehenge
therapist.
while you're there?
That would be a really, really cool thing. We actually want to head up in that way. We were there a few years ago. And so
I loved it there this last month. It was just so pretty.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we have to plan our trip a little bit more. We have
I've
accommodations.
clipped my wings because of mom. So now it's home. I'm doing some trainings for like the DA's office and things like that, but I need to stay closer to home and I need to lighten the calendar.
Yep.
But I'm so glad you're going to London. They are going to get so much out of having you there.
I'm fun about it. I'm excited. All right. Well, thank you very much.
London.
I appreciate
Thank you.
it here. As always.
See you in June.
Yep. Second Friday of the month. Okay.
We'll do Father's Day, maybe. Okay.
I think that's a very good idea.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to turn us off.